Hello, and welcome to You Write, the podcast where creativity meets community.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
Each week on You Write, we challenge our listeners to write a story in just 30 minutes, using 3 of 5 randomly generated words.
It's a fun and fast-paced exercise to spark your imagination and get those creative juices flowing.
We'll read your submissions, offer feedback, and discuss the unique twists and turns of each story.
Whether you're an aspiring author or just love a good tale, You Write is your place to explore the endless possibilities of storytelling.
So grab an eggplant, sharpen it to a fine point, get comfy, and let's dive into this week's stories.
And remember, the only limit is your imagination and how many eggplants you have. Oh, in 30 minutes.
Right.
So let's see what you got.
However many eggplants it takes to write for 30 minutes.
How many do... It's at least 2, right?
Yeah. I mean, you would probably be sharpening it each time. And if I were you, I would definitely pause the timer while I was sharpening.
Of course. Yeah. Eggplant sharpening, like, we don't expect you to do that inside 30 minutes as well as write a story. No. There's artistry to sharpening your eggplant properly.
There is. Yep.
Yeah. So would you use... It's like more like whittling an eggplant.
Yeah, you'd have to whittle it.
Yeah, whittle.
Yeah, you'd whittle it.
Whittle
it.
Your eggplant.
As you would whittle a moist stick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Not even trying to be weird.
When you're whittling, do you have to like soften the wood? Like, do you have to like moisten it before you can whittle it? I always thought it was like better if it was dry.
I think it is better if it's dry.
So then you just...
But I'm just saying, like, an eggplant is not dry. So...
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. It's a vegetable.
Right.
Vegetable?
No, I think it's a gourd.
Those are not vegetables?
No. It's a gourd. It's
neither fruit nor vegetable?
Right.
It is gourd.
It is gourd. Yeah. Actually, I have no idea.
I don't either.
Totally am saying shit. But yeah, if let's say that you're a whittler, let's say that you desperately need something like, I don't know, a weapon? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, wait. But then again, you'd have a weapon to whittle with.
Well, it could just be a tool, not necessarily a weapon.
That's true. So let's say that you need something desperately, and within like 24 hours, you have a whittling tool, and all you have is a piece of drenched wood, You have to just work with that.
Yeah, just it's what you got.
It's what you got. It would suck, but...
Need a spear, got this piece of driftwood.
Right.
And my whittling knife.
Exactly.
I'm going to make a spear. Okay.
If you're in desperate need of a spear. So that's what it would be like to whittle an eggplant. So how are you today?
Quite well.
Great.
Quite busy.
Great.
Thanks. It is great.
It's good. So great.
But we're all caught up on Christmas presents and everything.
Serious?
I think so.
Bro.
No, we still have one more person to buy for.
What the hell? Everybody has been like, oh yeah, I'm just wrapping up all my Christmas gifts. I have not even started shopping.
Probably should get on that. What are you getting me?
What
are you getting Kim?
No. Oh, I'm going to get y'all something.
What are you going to get Otto?
I will get him something. I still don't know yet. Well, here's the thing. I didn't have money until last week. What is today? Wednesday.
Yeah.
I didn't have money until like a week ago. And suddenly the literal government deposited thousands of dollars in my account.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what to do with it. And I literally just let it sit there. And I was just like...
Terrified they're going to ask for it back?
Right. No, I kind of am. Partially.
Yeah.
But I was
Do you
just
have any idea why you have it? Or
Yeah, it's because of a job I did for the U.S. Department of State.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it deserves to be. You deserve to have it.
I deserved it, but still. It was like, I just literally just sat there and stared at it. And I was like, what do I do with this?
Now what?
Now what? And then like 2 days ago, I was like, you could pay your mortgage on time. And so I did.
Wow.
And it was insane.
Rad.
Yeah.
The bank is thrilled.
Oh, yeah. And then Not only that, but I also bought some new elbow pads and wrist guards for roller derby.
Right on.
Last night, just because I was like, because mine are completely like falling to pieces and they're disgusting because I don't wash them, because if I wash them, they fall to pieces more.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something like it would wash off all the good luck. Or...
No. I don't believe in that.
Okay, good.
I like to smell good, but if I wash them again, they will fall apart completely. So they smell horrible. They don't really work. I'm just forced to put them on my body.
Can't you like stitch them back together or something? Like use, I don't know, like nylon thread or something?
Not that simple. It's like there's like elbow pads on the inside. There's like foam. It's on the inside and it doesn't open up. And it's like there's pieces missing, like foam pieces have fallen out over the years. And it's no, I can't do that. Anyway, so I bought some of those. And also, I got some pants because for years now, I've been wearing pants with holes in them for exercising. And it's gotten to the point that because they're black. Okay. They're like black, like workout pants or whatever. I don't know, yoga pants, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
And I try to wear black underwear every time that I wear them. But I only have a certain number of black underwear. And now... when I go work out, people are always like, oh, hey, there's a hole in your pants. And I'm like, I know.
Why are you looking?
Why are you staring at my ass? Anyway, and
they're like, okay, so we're going to call the cops now.
Yeah.
Because this is
and
the seventh time we've told you.
Yes, and I'm tired of all the titters and giggles. And getting called out for something I already know. I know that you can see my underwear, okay? I know, isn't that sad? So I finally went to Target and got a pair of new pants.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I wore them last night. It was great. So that's what I've done with my money so far. Next up, I'm going to buy Christmas gifts.
Well done.
Thank you.
Did you see all our stories?
I did.
It's quite the turnout.
It is. It's bigger since now we're back to 30 minutes now.
Yeah. Or presumably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's more than we had any of the weeks during long form month.
Yeah. It certainly
during
is.
During long Bimber.
Yeah, novel Bimber. Yeah. Right. And some right at the wire. Actually, several right at the wire. But we got you.
Yeah.
We got you.
Totally.
And with that in mind, who did we select to read this week?
Well, this week, I believe that we are going to read The Silver Scream Part 2 by AceOfSword.
That's right. And I'll be reading this one today. So here's The Silver Scream Part 2 by AceOfSword.
Take it away.
Junior Researcher Liam Reed, Entry 1. Well, it finally happened. We're pretty sure we found a manifestation event, and now we're stuck in it. We're pretty much stranded in the middle of the shit river, but we've still got paddles for now. Things can still get worse, and they probably will. Anyway, we're on Apocalypse Protocol now, so every member of the research team has to maintain their own set of logs in different formats so that if we all get brutally slaughtered, the next group that comes to investigate the place can get at least some clues. Professor Pratt gets to make audio logs with his tape recorder, and researcher Cameron is filming with the digital camcorder. I feel like the two most knowledgeable people probably shouldn't be the ones making their logs in the formats that are most vulnerable to electromagnetic disturbances, but what do I know? I'm just a junior researcher. I lost the coin toss with Lucy, so I have to be the one actually writing down stuff, while she gets to take pictures with the Polaroid and just adds a few notes on the back. Anyway, enough whining. Actual info. We were barely getting started when things went south. The security detail was doing their preliminary sweep of the place while we set up the equipment in the lobby of the multiplex. Apparently, some of them found something weird enough, their captain decided to take roll call or something, and there's 4 of them not responding. Only 2 missing, though. We can see the other 2 standing guard outside through the glass door, but they're looking away from the building, and apparently they can't hear us, not even when the glass doors are being shot at. Oh, yeah. The doors don't open either. They get a bit damaged by bullets, but it's only surface level damage. Some of the security guys wanted to try blowing them up, but Professor Pratt vetoed it. He was pretty explicit that it might cause the manifestation to escalate. I don't know how he knows that when we've been told we were looking for proof that the things are even real. As far as I know, this is the first time this will actually be studied, but hey, maybe he knows something that's above my pay grade. Still think we should have tried. Worst case, we actually confirmed that it's a bad idea, right? Isn't fuck around, find out, write it down basically science? Anyway, this entry is done for now. My hand is cramping and we have to move to look for the missing guys. Security has decided not to split up again, which means we have to follow them. Junior researcher Liam Reed, entry 2. We found one of the missing. He's dead. Professor Pratt is arguing that he might be in some sort of stasis, but I think the guy is done. He's cold. He doesn't have a pulse. His skin is gray. We found him suspended in midair, bound in film coming from a missing part of the false ceiling. We are getting some pretty crazy energy readings off of him, though. He clearly didn't go quietly. Or rather, he did, since nobody heard a thing, even as he apparently shot up the place all around him. The other security guys call him Casper, which sounds like it could be his actual name, but it's probably a call sign since everybody else on the security team only uses those. I kind of want to ask them why he was called that, but I don't think it's a good time. Still, can you imagine if the first guy officially killed by a ghost was named after one?
There you have it.
And there it is.
Yay!
Yay!
Okay, so I have some thoughts right off the bat here.
All right.
I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts, but I realized when reading this that ghost stories interest me a lot more than things like zombie or alien stories. And I never knew that. I never thought about it before. But I honestly was kind of like checked out the first half of the story. And then whenever I read the part that says, we found him suspended in midair, bound in film coming from a missing part of the false ceiling, I was like, suspended in midair?
By film in a multiplex?
Exactly.
Ghost movie?
Yeah. And then at that moment, I kind of really started paying attention. I was trying to pay attention the first half, but I just kind of was lost in it. I didn't know what was going on. I was just like, this and this. And that doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be there. There's a lot of stage setting that needs to happen, that people can go back and read and be like, oh, that's what was happening. But I really started focusing whenever the guy was suspended in midair, and I was like, ooh, ghost story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it was a kind of a time of self-discovery.
Well, now we know. Ghost stories, Rachel's jam.
My jam.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
No, I very clearly remembered the first part of this story that we got with the strike team going into the multiplex and the movie theater and everything. So this
now that you say that, I remember that, but I didn't even think about that. When was that?
A couple months ago.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but whenever I saw Silver Scream, because it reminded me that we never commented on the title. Mm-hmm. The Silver Scream, not the Silver Scream.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so the title clearly drew me right back to that. And then I was reading it, I was kind of remembering what happened, that we had this kind of research team that they lost contact with in addition to half of their strike force.
I remember that now. Yes.
Yeah. So now we're on the other side of the story, or the other side of this ghost barrier, whatever's happening. And so we're in the head of this junior researcher, Liam Reed. And I really like this format, this log entry.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, that's fun. But yeah, I really like these log entries. Also the tone of junior researcher Liam Reed, he's got a chip on his shoulder. And it's like, but what do I know? I'm just a junior researcher. And all valid points. If you've got electromagnetic disturbances, probably your most seasoned researchers should be highest priority that their word is preserved, and if their word is only being made on, electronic devices, it's so yeah, all valid points, and a lot of wonderful characterization as well.
Yes.
I actually really liked the start of this. Just the tone of it drew me in, that kind of cynical, like, what do I know? Nobody asked me. So
I like the part where it says, isn't fuck around, find out, write it down, basically science. I was like, touche.
It basically is.
That is science.
Like, that's trial and error.
Like, that makes me feel like I'm a scientist. Except for that I don't write it down.
Oh, you just
fuck around and find out.
Yeah. So the only difference is just start writing it down.
Right. And then I'll be a scientist.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
And I really like the learning more about, I guess, the trap that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're trying to shoot the glass out of the front of this multiplex, and it's just impenetrable. Like, unable to get through. There's 2 guards standing outside, but they don't even hear it or anything. I found that, for whatever reason, was super creepy to me.
Yeah.
Just that, like, there's so many implications behind that. 1, you're trapped. And 2, there are 2 people back over there. They can't hear you. And they're not turning around to see you. It's like, if they could actually be people, it could be some sort of, like, ghostly projection. They may not actually be your friends or what have you. So I don't know. I just thought that was really clever, and it really ramped up the suspense for me at a point where I felt like suspense really kind of was needed, considering where we were going. So that worked perfectly.
Yay.
Yeah.
I'd like to note something about the word apocalypse. Do y'all know the origin of the word apocalypse?
Is a used as a prefix for it?
No.
No. Okay, then no. I have no idea.
You want to just take a wild guess about the original etymological meaning of apocalypse?
Would it come from Greek?
Yes.
Epoch? Would that be like time? Or like epoch? Like,
okay, I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah, please, because I will fumble my way through this.
I like to make people guess things that they have no way of knowing. I do it to my students all the time, and they all despise me.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Okay.
All right. So I love this because in our modern understanding of apocalypse, like the end of the world.
Yeah. End of times.
Right?
Yeah.
End of times, like fire,
brimstone,
brimstone, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. But the etymology of apocalypse. Yes, it comes from Greek, and apa is a prefix in Greek, which means away from or away from, out of. And I remember whenever I was studying Greek that I remembered this one because I would imagine like a paw being like drawing back. I know I'm weird.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, you got to do what you can to remember shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, from, away from, out of, and calypse. Well, Calypso is a nymph in the Odyssey, but and her name comes from the meaning of calypse. Calyptane means hidden.
Away from hidden?
From hiding.
Away from hiding?
Okay, so from hiding, it means the same thing as like reveal.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's kind
of a roundabout way of getting to reveal. Yeah.
Out of hiding.
Okay.
Means reveal, like a revelation.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like an unveiling, basically. So I love the fact that apocalypse literally means like unveiling or taking out of hiding.
Interesting.
Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. It's like you can suddenly, to me, it's like, okay, you can see what reality really is. There's like a veil separating us from actual reality. And then during the apocalypse,
the veil is pulled back.
And you're like, whoa.
Oh.
Yeah.
Welcome to reality.
Right? Isn't that cool?
It's horrifying.
And horrifying, but cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting.
Oh my God. I love it. So much. Okay, anyway.
So, Honestly, that's basically what I had. Like, it's a great story. It's a great character. Mm-hmm. It's a very very relatable character for myself. Yeah. Very easy to get swept up in the kind of cynicism of the story. At least for myself, it's easy to latch on to something like that. You know? Yeah.
No, I think that's awesome. I am a Gryffindor, so I didn't really relate to the cynicism part, but
okay.
But I respect that you did, and I like the name. I like the name Casper. I really like that.
Yeah, and just the kind of play on it that we get that he was killed by a ghost or something that they're calling a ghost at the very least. So yeah.
Did you identify the contronym in here?
I did not. I was looking for it and I couldn't find it.
Nor did I. And I said to myself, hey self, what were you thinking when you came up with this prompt? Because it is so hard to sift through a whole story to find a contronym.
Especially if it's not explicitly called out.
Such as the title of the story.
Right.
Yeah. It's just like, whoa. Oh my God. No, I don't even know. It could be anything. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's on us, guys. The fact that we can't find it is entirely on us.
Because we would have to literally go through every word and inspect it
and its usage within the yeah. Man, I really don't know, but my understanding is AceOfSword is not a native English speaker, so
a native French speaker, I think.
I believe that's right.
Yeah.
So maybe a contronym they attempted to use one and we just can't find it because I don't know, lost in translation,
or they probably did use one.
Yeah.
And we just can't
find it because
so AceOfSword, can you please apocalypse your contronym? Reveal it.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and move on to the next story.
Richie Posher with The Warmth.
Richie Posher.
Yeah, so this one I thought was a fascinating premise.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, Richie, I couldn't find like your premise that you lent us in the comment following it just off of the story itself, like a energy vampire. As soon as you mentioned that, I was like, oh, of course that's what it is. But just in my reading, it didn't immediately jump out to me. So a little, I don't even know how in this style you would go about clarifying
clarifying what?
Like who our point of view character is, that they're this energy vampire.
Well, I kind of got the impression that it was not a normal blood-sucking vampire. Because I'm trying to find the place that I've kind of came to that conclusion. I think it's where in the 5th paragraph where it's like, while my prey, my benefactors cannot know that I pilfer and steal their succulent manna. They will feel it after any prolonged time. So that made me think, okay, he's not literally attacking and sucking their blood.
Right.
He's getting sustenance from them in some other way. And he talks about their like rowdiness and like talking, and I draw life and energy from the living, a dribble at a time. They could not know that I do because I need not touch to take. I need only to hear the sweet resonance of voice to feed. So,
which is beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, so this vampire is getting sustenance not through flesh and blood.
Yeah. Yeah. And as soon as I read the comment, it just hit me. I was like, oh, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Like it all lined up so perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't connect. I wasn't able to connect all those dots without being kind of clued in about it. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention what we do in the shadows.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, because that's the best energy vampire representation.
Made it a comedy at that point when it was like an energy vampire. I was like,
oh, what's his name? Is it Colin?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
but
it's Colin.
I just know that he's an energy vampire, and ever since I saw that episode, I have identified people in my life who are energy vampires, and they're usually my students.
Yeah. That being said, this is this is not at all comedic. As a matter of fact, you kind of see this kind of wax and wane to the character, like parts where they're like gloriously full and have feasted, and times that they're like withering away. And this feels like a sort of compromise, like a self-imposed compromise. Like it seems like they did this all completely by choice and with nobody telling them that they need to do this. So they chose to isolate themselves in a box below what is presumably like a church sanctuary, or
sounds like it.
So I thought that was very fascinating, living below the institution that would ultimately see you destroyed, and feeding off of them on a regular basis, and basically doing that just as a means of accepting that they are not welcome. And how can they continue to exist despite not being welcomed anywhere and not belonging anywhere? And that's to make sure nobody knows they exist.
Yeah.
I thought that's fascinating. It's a really cool premise.
Yeah, it is. But also, I was, I guess, struck by how content this energy vampire seems.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm great. I'm feeling awesome once I'm like, getting energy. But even if I'm starving, it's fine. I was like, wow, this is kind of encouraging about like, because I sometimes worry about the quality of life of like vampires. If they're
worry
like,
about that, do you?
I do sometimes. Yeah. If they're like underground by themselves, just like in a coffin or whatever, like that would suck. But this one seems cool with it.
Yeah, like they found a solution that works for them.
Yeah, because they said, I am here of my own volition. I am safe here, safe and sated. My thirst has been quenched in perpetuity.
Yeah. That
to me was comforting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
It's not long at all, but it just gets all of this across in just a handful of paragraphs here.
It slaps.
This tote slaps, Richie.
Yeah.
And they had mentioned that they were considering maybe doing like a serialized story with this.
About different types of vampires.
Yeah.
Like what we do in the shadows.
Kind of, yeah. Although this doesn't strike me as comedic at all.
No, it doesn't.
I really like the writing style. It feels old, and it feels ancient, kind of
old.
Sure. I'm sure I had another word in there for it.
Can you say that word though? That other word for old?
Ancient?
Yeah, okay. So I don't know why, but I say ancient.
Ancient, like anxious?
Yeah, but I say ancient.
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 No, just say ank and then shint.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Can you say what I'm saying?
Ancient. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's anxious, but not us, but and.
Sure.
Ancient.
But here's the thing. XIOUS is shus. Okay? So where does the k come from? Same with ANCIENT. CIENT is shunt. So where does the k come from? So if I say ancient, then that's just as valid as saying anxious. Okay? If you say ancient, you should say anxious.
Anxious?
Anxious. Think about it.
I'm thinking about it. I understand. I won't do it, but I understand.
No, that's fine. I don't care, because this is a hill that I'm willing to die on. Why? I'll tell you why. Because whenever I was working in Saudi Arabia, and my best friend Iman, who's Egyptian, her English is okay. Not fluent, but okay, she's pretty fluent, but not like, me. And one time I said ancient, and she was like, what did you just say? I was like, ancient. She was like, you're wrong. It's ancient. And I was like, fuck you. English is my first fucking language.
Also, it's a dumb language. It's so contradictory.
Yeah, it is. So don't try to tell me how to speak my own language. I think I didn't speak to her for the rest of the day. Wow. I was so angry.
Wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were upset. Yeah.
And then she was offered more salary, like way more, and I wasn't. And I was like, I hate you.
It's because I said ancient, wasn't it?
No, I was just like, fuck you, shut up. She was trying to talk to me and I was just like, shut up. And I like ran away like a toddler.
Oh, you had a little tantrum.
I did.
Oh.
I did.
Oh.
But then I too got the job.
Oh, so it worked out.
Yeah, but if I hadn't, I still wouldn't be speaking to her.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, yeah. Yeah, just in general, the premise is fascinating. The language is very cool.
Yeah.
Very well done. Really strikes the ancient ness of a vampire.
Yes. And it is really nice to see this perspective of the vampire being like, hey, I'm okay. I'm doing good. You know?
Don't worry about me. I'll be fine.
Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. I can take care of this.
Yeah, I'll just keep going to church.
Yeah, just keep going to church and I'll be just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, please don't burn it down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. Hey, thanks, Richie.
Thank you.
And up next, we have Left by Nick Yu.
Yes, we do. I'd like to start by saying that this was delightful for me to read.
Yeah. No, it is good. A lot of good dialogue back and forth and these misunderstandings.
And you know what, Nick, you, in the comments, I saw that you said like, I don't know why, but I realized that I really like misunderstandings. I think they're really, what did you say? You said like incongruously, unfathomably, no.
Just make it
somethingably funny, irreconcilably, unjustifiably. Are you looking for
irreparably?
Irreparably?
No, I don't know.
Oh, something in a way that doesn't even make sense. Inequatably.
I've realized recently that playing with words and names and confusion around them is something I find disproportionately funny.
There it is.
Found
disproportionately. Yes, disproportionately funny. And Nick, to you, I am in the exact same boat. I love it. And I loved this so much because I could identify with it so much. Just this, the point of view character, just like watching this misunderstanding happening, because I do that all the time. Like I see it happening. I see it unfurling. I know who's misunderstanding what, but I don't intervene. I just watch it. And I'm just like, yeah.
I wish you could see her face. She's doing like a tennis match, like two people are talking. But...
Yeah. Like, well, what do you have to say to that? Well, yeah. What's your counter to that? How did you understand it? How did you understand it? But I know the whole time exactly what they're misunderstanding, but I love it. It is hilarious. And it harkens back to Matt's entry last week.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
With all the misunderstandings, it just cracked me up. And this was just like, it was just delightful to read.
Yeah. And it makes very good use of that misunderstanding, all while interlacing this description of our setting and what's happening around us. So it's just, we're just kind of intertwining this dialogue with this narrative voice and the description. So I think that actually worked really well. Spacing the dialogue out, giving it kind of some room to breathe within the setting. I thought that worked very well.
Yeah.
And so what's our contronym?
Well, our contronym is left.
It's left.
Which was very helpful that you made that the title.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Nick Yu. That helped a lot.
Thank you. That was hilarious. Because it's like, and I really came away from this being like, Ash is a bit slow on the uptake.
Yeah.
I went back and read it again and I was just like, okay, the Mary's needing repairs. The hub word's been sold off, but the river crest's left. So to me, the indicator for Ash should have been the word but.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, we don't have this one. We don't have this one. But yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the word but is what helps you to know that he means the river crest is still here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I was actually waiting for them to be like, but the river crest is left. And they're just going to point to the left, and it's to their left. I was actually kind of waiting for that. It never came, but it had the same idea.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be hilarious. It's like, not only is it left versus left, but it's also left.
Triple entendre.
Yeah. That would, but the way it is delightful. I just loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. A great use of the contronym. And you know what in kind of digging through my head for contronyms, they seem to be some of the most simple words that we have.
Yeah. They're like very basic words.
Very like the most basic.
Yeah. That's why it's so hard to find them.
Yes.
Because it's not like a weird, exotic sounding word. It's
it's a preposition.
Word.
It's
yeah, exactly.
It's a direction. It's yeah, which is fascinating that the most rudimentary parts of our language can be the things that are the most confusing and they're like most misunderstood, like in this story. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Yeah.
And I just love the fact that the point of view character and Buvario.
Great name.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of the name Buvario.
Same. They both understand what's happening. And again, I could really relate to that because sometimes whenever I see this type of thing going on and then somebody tries to intervene, I'm like, no. Let them hash it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
let them
stand back
and observe.
The best way to observe a misunderstanding.
Yes.
Yeah. And oh man, I'm so guilty of the exact same. And also if somebody's like struggling to find a word, I am so reluctant to offer up what I'm pretty sure is the word they're looking for.
Yeah.
It's like, I want you to find it.
Right.
Like, you got this.
Yeah. This is a learning moment.
Yeah. You can do this.
Exactly.
And I just watch the discovery and the wheels turning, or they just come screeching to a halt. And it's like, okay, what is it? It's like, okay, okay, fine. But,
and then by that point, like I've already lost interest and I'm like thinking about something else. I'm like, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
Yeah. I do think one note, and I think AceOfSword said as much, there's quite a few characters here. It's pretty hard. It's kind of hard to keep them straight. So it was kind of hard to know exactly who was speaking. And whenever we got to the point of view character speaking out loud, I was actually pretty lost. So as far as who was speaking, but it didn't necessarily detract from my enjoyment of the story. It was just a little confusing is all. So quite a few characters, but I really like the descriptions of our setting. It's a very interesting place. We clearly are in a fantasy setting. We get different species and different qualities of like how they sense their environment. Like there was one, like they were especially sensitive to light or something like that. Yeah, the Biral. Yeah, I just think it's interesting. You give us these little tidbits of information about these characters or these races, species, whatever it may be, and yeah, it's just very interesting.
Yes.
And there was the line, I'm just going to read this. He shrugged and I sighed. The log cabiners were as maladjusted as I had by now learned to expect from a gold rank team. Outcasts, none suited to cooperation or even conservation, who had chosen a violent profession for lack of better options. They were who I had left they were who I had left, though I was committed. And since left is our contronym, I'm curious how we were supposed to read that one.
Yeah.
Because we had so much fun with it before. I kind of want to keep having fun with the word left.
Yeah, because it could be like, I think it's like they were still there.
Yeah, they're the ones still here.
Yeah, based on the context.
Yeah.
But it would be funny if it was like, the log cabineers were maladjusted, outcasts. If you didn't add the word though,
yes, yeah,
then it could have also meant I had left them. You know? Yeah.
So I was trying to
have left.
I was trying to have a little bit more fun with that one. The though really does put a damper on that and really solidifies. It's like, no, we're done with that.
They're here. We still have them.
Yeah.
They were who I had left. I couldn't change that now. You know, or something. It's like, wait a second. So do you have them or don't you?
Yeah. And just we finished with this dialogue around food, which I found Nick you has a tendency to write about food, which I think is actually really something that I always overlook, is that characters, like, they should probably eat.
Right.
And food, like what people are eating, can be such a huge indicator as to their culture, like what's available to them, and the resources available to them. Like, there's so much detail that you can put into a story just by the food and the cuisine.
True.
And
that's one of my favorite things in reading, is reading descriptions of food.
Yeah?
Yes.
Because you get hungry.
Yeah, I just like to think about food. You wouldn't understand that, but I like to picture it, visualize it. I like the explicit descriptions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Explicit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Detailed. Delicious.
No, delicious. Explicit works. It absolutely works. It's our word for this week.
I like that.
So, well, right on.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks, Nick, to you.
Thank you, Nick, to you. That was lovely.
Yes, it was.
All right. So, I think that it is time for us to move on to our next entry, which is by our very own In Cottage, Matt Said Words.
Hey-o.
Oh, burr, 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 burr.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So, this was, it's just kind of like you just plopped us in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, in media res, yeah.
Yes, in media res. There you go.
Yeah.
In the middle of this whole situation. So clearly, at first I was like, is this going to be a continuation of the thing with the kids in the cave or whatever?
Oh, man, that would have been a good... Oh.
No, it's okay. I thought,
should have used them, but no, it's not. It's strictly something brand new.
Right.
So.
And I mean, I got that after the first couple of lines, but so we have two characters here, Mara and what is it? Julian, yeah. Julian. Okay. Okay. And we don't know why or how, but they're in the middle of some type of cave system.
A tunnel. Yeah.
A tunnel.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I explicitly call it a tunnel a couple times.
You probably did.
Yeah.
It's just like, sometimes I just get these like mental pictures that defy what words have actually been said. But okay, so they're in a tunnel and we don't know why they're in there, but they are trying to get out. Mara is freaking out.
Yeah, decidedly.
She's like panicking. Julian is not confident, but he's trying to sound confident.
Right.
Yes, to keep Mara from panicking. And there's some type of creature or entity which exists and may or may not be in the tunnel.
Right.
Can you elaborate on any of that? Or
so Steve in a comment asked all these questions, and it's like, why are they there? What's in the tunnel with them? What are they afraid of that could be in the tunnel with them? And my answer is, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
Okay, I was gonna say, do you really not know, or are you just not saying?
This was a legitimate me just exploring this scene with these characters.
Yeah.
So the prompt being contronyms. I was attempting, and I think I failed the brief, to use the word through as a contronym.
What do you mean you failed?
I don't think that through can be used as a contronym. Like to be through a tunnel or to be finished with something. Yeah. It means
the same thing.
It means the same thing. Yeah. It's just, it has different context behind it. Yeah, it's not. So yeah, I think in my attempt to do what I did, I failed successfully. Yeah.
Well, wait a second. Actually, I think it can be contronym, because if you're saying I'm through, like I'm finished, like I'm through, it just means like I give up.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you say I'm through, like you finished it, that means you succeeded. Yeah. So it's giving up versus succeeding. So I think it can be a contronym.
Okay. Thank you. Cause that was what I was attempting to do. And I just was like, no,
it can be.
Cause like to give up, I'm finished. Yeah.
It's like I'm done. I'm done. I'm through. You know? But yeah, it's like I'm through with this. People say that sometimes. I'm through with this. It means I give up on this. This is bullshit. Or they can say I'm through with this. It means I'm finished. I succeeded in this.
Yeah.
So I think it can be a contronym.
Okay. Well, then I succeeded successfully.
You did. Good job.
But yeah, it was strictly, I was creating the scene strictly to try and explore the contronym of being through something and leaving it vague at the end what she meant by I'm through. Meaning that it could be I'm through the tunnel and she's just so glad to be out of the tunnel, or she's just over it. I'm finished with this.
Man.
So it could go either way, and that's exactly what I wanted, was the ambiguity of the conclusion. So using the contronym to add ambiguity. Yeah. I guess.
I think that you did a good job of portraying the interactions in the darkness, in the total darkness, where it's like Julian fumbled until he found her shoulders and spun her into an embrace. Like, I could really picture that because you can't see anything. And so it's like, but he's trying to make this like reassuring and confident gesture, you know? So I feel like that came across really well.
Yeah, I have to give credit to Mr. Stephen King. He wrote a particular scene in The Stand that happens in the tunnel out of Manhattan. It's very similar to this in that they're trying to get to the other side. It's completely dark and their light is going out and everything. So I did draw some inspiration from that once I realized that I was essentially writing a very similar scene to that one of them trying to get through a completely pitch black tunnel. Yeah. One thing that I think I failed on is showing how empty the tunnel is. Like, they're not running into any obstacles. They have nothing in their way. The only thing that becomes an obstacle are the stairs that lead up and out of the tunnel at the end. Yeah. That she trips on. Like, that's as much of an obstacle as they come across. But otherwise, it's completely empty.
Well, I feel like I got that impression in the second, if you can call it a paragraph, whatever, where it's like, it must, Julian replied from somewhere behind her, his voice echoing around them. Yeah. That made me feel like it was like an empty place. Yeah. But it's funny that you say Stephen King, because I did not know that was your, or that was where you had been inspired as far as the tunnel thing.
Well, and I wouldn't even necessarily call it inspiration. It just, after I finished it, it struck me as like, that exact thing happened in The Stand.
Yeah. But it's funny because it reminded me of a mini series that I watched when I was little by Stephen King, The Langoliers.
Oh, yeah. That's a wild short story.
It is. And so and that freaked me out.
I've never seen the movie. I love the short story. And by the way, if you ever do the audiobook, it's narrated by Willem Dafoe. Oh. Which is wonderful. Love Willem.
Nice. Love Willem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember the people on the airplane, and then and I was little, but I remember being so freaked out by the Langoliers. And whenever I was reading this, and for some reason, it was like, they're not down here though, are they? I was thinking of the Langoliers. I don't know why.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe there was something in it that was Stephen King-esque that I subconsciously picked up on. I don't know.
Well, it's I think the one thing, the kind of blanket that I can throw over Stephen King is he's really good about using very normal people in very extreme situations and just seeing how they work or don't work in a situation, how they change or how they remain static in a story where they've got these extreme pressures or these things that really challenge what they know or what they think they know about the world. So that's one of the main things that I've always taken away from Stephen King is they are very regular, normal people, and the situations are what make the story progress, and the people drive the story, but the situation is what drives the characters. So that's more or less if I'm trying to write something horror style, that's the direction that I would run, is just very normal people reacting to very extreme situations. So, and there's another author who's really good about doing that, but for the life of me, I can't remember. I remember reading a short story by them, but anyway. But yeah, that was the idea.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm just like curious about it. What is, kind of like what Steve was asking, why are they there? What's happening? What are the things that they're afraid of, But I do like the idea of you just like going off the cuff and just like writing without an end in mind, but just like writing like the people, where they are and what's happening,
Yeah. It was strictly an exploration. I would chalk this up to an experiment, actually.
I like it.
So this is me just playing around with an idea, and even the names were just random. Like there was no meaning behind their names. It just, I wanted a man and a woman trying to get through the tunnel. And
so how did you come up with the names?
A name generator.
Okay, I was about to say, because if it wasn't a name generator, it was not random, because something in your subconscious decided it.
No, legitimately
it was
random.
Like actually random. Yeah. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. So, the characters were merely there to give us a perspective to move through this scene and explore this idea of being through.
Right.
As a contronym.
Yeah, so then at the very end, when it's like, I'm through, she said, weeping among the overgrown grass and weeds. At first, I'm just imagining that she means like, I'm done, like that I can't do this anymore or something. That's the first thing that came to mind, because she was crying and sobbing. But then I was like, wait, or does she mean she's completed the tunnel?
Right.
We don't know.
We don't. I don't. I don't know what she means.
Even Matt himself doesn't know.
Nope.
How are we supposed to know? How are we supposed to know?
You're not supposed to know.
Okay.
The goal is to leave you wondering.
Yeah, and I think that you did that well.
All right.
Yeah.
Radical.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Yes.
It was fun to write. And it just, I think it took me right at about 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
To write it.
Nice.
So.
And also, man, I haven't seen the word effulgent.
Yeah.
Effulgent or effulgent?
Effulgent.
Effulgent in a long time, but I did like that word usage.
Yeah, I hadn't heard the word until there's a book I'm reading right now use the word, and I was like, oh, yeah. I like that. So it just made its way into my vocabulary, and so I'm gonna drag that one out whenever I can.
I like it. Yeah. And also that was very like that really made me like draw a mental picture, because it was like, it wasn't, to Julian, it was an effulgent magical light that brought with the sanity that he'd checked at the tunnel's entrance. I like that jubilant description of the light, because I could imagine that's what it would feel like. It's like when you're really, really worried about something and you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then there's a happy ending. And it's just like this amazing feeling that you just like don't want to let go of. I saved some evidence of a happy ending in my own life and put it on my refrigerator so that I could look at it all the time and get that effulgent feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
I like that. I
was just glad to have a context to even use the word effulgence. So, but yeah, I came across that word probably like Sunday afternoon, I want to say, while I was reading. And I was just like, oh, I like that word. I really like that word. So you all get effulgent.
Yes. Wonderful. Excellent. Love it.
Awesome. Thank you.
I love it. So shall we move on to our next entry?
Yes. The Thief of Age by the Prismatics 19. Yes. Hey, Prismatics.
Yeah, hey, Prismatics. So what did you think about this one?
I loved this. This is, oh man, it's been so long since I've read any sort of narrative poetry. It was great to fall back into it. And despite Reddit being dumb and being difficult to format, I still can tell that this is I'm imagining 4-line stanzas.
Yes.
They break up in 4 lines very easily. So that's how I was reading it, and the meter just lends to it. So even without the formatting, it's very clear that it's kind of 4-line stanzas.
Yeah, and that's such a throwback.
4-line stanza?
Yes.
To what?
To 19th century poetry.
It's just generally 4-line stanzas.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that for sure. I have not like read that fact. I just feel like there's a lot of that. And I like that. I love the 4-line stanza. I want to bring it back. And I feel like Prismatics, you are helping to bring it back.
Oh, no, totally.
I love it. I think it's brilliant.
It's very accessible.
It is. It's accessible. It adds like structure. It's just, I don't know. I love the 4-line stanza.
Yeah. And it's outside of just being very accessible, it's probably the most common stanza is a 4-line stanza. And because it's like an ABA or ABAB.
Yeah, it's ABAB.
Yeah, ABAB or ABAC. And you can get, or ABCB, I think is what we have here.
Really? I think we have ABAB.
Yeah, you're right. ABAB. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it's just a very common, easy to interpret, simple way of getting somebody into poetry. Yeah. And I think simplicity is key with poetry.
I love it.
Especially with a modern audience. You get some hoity-toity people who will be like, 4-line stanza,
absolutely.
ABA.
I have encountered these people who are like, you need to read more contemporary poetry. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, actually, you need to go fuck yourself.
Yeah, you need to get off your pedestal.
Right.
Go find a stick and no, but
how dare you?
How dare you?
But I love this.
I did too.
And also I find that, in my opinion, whenever you have like such a limiting stanza format, you're able to like, at least I am, it seems the Prismatics is able to like flourish within that.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Despite its simplicity, there is still like, because hand wavy here.
Yeah. I think it's lovely.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. And like I said, it's been quite a while since I've encountered narrative poetry, but despite my time away, this was completely clear to me. To which I want to ask you, is this a part of the story that we got last time?
I feel like it is.
It feels like
it's
it
a
has
continuation
to be.
Of that.
Yeah, and almost like maybe an origin story to our character, our point of view character.
To me, it just seemed like a experience that he had throughout his millennia of living, and it was, I don't know, I just felt like this guy suddenly wanted to get like artsy with his like interpretation of what was happening to him.
Or maybe it's from the perspective of one of the people whose body he takes. No, that wouldn't be right either.
Yeah,
because he ends up in the body.
Yeah, I did kind of start wondering, whose perspective is this in? Because it does seem like it's like a nurse, a caretaker, a family member, something, but by birth or blood or happenstance, the man I cared for was not mine. Okay, so I'm thinking like a nurse.
I really want to just read
this. If when he took his final breath, I'd finally have the energy to take a more exquisite form. Can I read it?
Do you want to just read it?
Yeah.
Like down the line? I'm for it.
Yeah.
It's a bit long, but yeah.
It's not
okay,
long.
hey, Prismatics, we're gonna read your.
We're gonna read it. Fuck it, we're gonna read it.
Yeah, to hell with one story. Yeah, poetry needs to be heard.
That's right. Here we go. The Thief of Age. A dribble around. Fuck.
All right, take two.
All right, wait. Okay, here we go. A dribble ran down the old man's chin, and dutifully I wiped it clean. His eyes say sunken. You know what? I can't. You do it.
And actually, I think the word "say"
should be "stay."
Yeah, I'm curious because that was the one thing that I thought might have been a mistake.
I think it is.
Okay, all right. So, the Thief of Age. A dribble ran down the old man's chin, and dutifully I wiped it clean. His eyes say sunken, a hollow grin spread over teeth I'd never seen. The man I cared for was not mine, by birth or blood or happenstance. A troubled patient in rough decline, a special case, a careful dance, of playing between life and death. Prolong the agony and see if, when he took his final breath, I'd finally have the energy to take a more exquisite form and wander through the ages vast, to find a life both safe and warm, to bound, unbound, and make it last. His grin surprised me nonetheless, for catatonia, I was told, had made him to a child regress. Had stolen his mind once bright and bold. He spoke to me, and in my shock I barely heard the words he said. I find you now amongst the flock, living when you should be dead. In my stupor of explicit surprise, I did not see him reach his hand. He looked into my startled eyes, and in his were a golden band. Denizen of filth, he cried, and though I tried to lunge away, his grip had caught me by the side, and in my horror and dismay, I saw my view shift rapidly. To one that sat and moving not, I gazed upon what, vapidly, I thought was mine, but only in thought. For he was standing over me, in the body that had once been mine. I stole it from someone long lost in memory, someone that had been his kind. This is all that you deserve, he said, and in my heart I understood. You stole my brother, I thought him dead, but dead is what you'll be for good. That body will not last much longer. I saved it for you special, and now I will eternal wonder, all while you eternal lie. He left me then, unfit to move or even watch him as he went. I sit now in this chair's worn groove and think of all the lives I've spent.
Wow, that was beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It is beautiful. And I feel like it is actually describing what it's like whenever that character from the last story takes over the bodies of these old people. Because I did wonder in that last story, I was like, okay, well, where do the old people go when he takes over their bodies?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like this is like the handing over, like the passing of the torch.
Yes.
Like this is my body. You got to be here now. I'm going to go and be free in my spirit form, but you're stuck here. Pretty sure. I feel pretty sure that's what's happening.
I track that. Mm-hmm. I track that. Denizen of filth, he cried.
I love that part.
What a turn.
I love that part.
That is
Denizen
lovely.
of filth, because it's like a resident
yes.
of these like failing bodies.
Yes.
Denizen of filth.
Yes.
I love that line.
That's so good.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so metal.
And you know what? Here it is metal.
Yeah.
And hearing it read aloud made it much more metal.
Yes, that's I always come back to that with poetry. It must be heard.
Yes.
Not just read, but heard.
Absolutely.
It's so cool.
It is so cool. And like
just this line, in the body that had once been mine, I stole it from someone long lost in memory, someone that had been his kind.
Mm-hmm.
That but
it's kind of harsh, this old guy who's getting his body stolen, because he's like, this is all that you deserve, he said. And in my heart, I understood. So I wonder if this eternity of hopping from dying body to dying body is some type of punishment.
It certainly strikes me that way.
Yeah.
And this almost felt like the vessel was speaking on behalf of whoever bestowed this punishment on him. Mm-hmm. Because like, this is all you deserve. And he hears this every time he jumps into a body, maybe. And just to be constantly reminded of like either what he did to deserve this, or just to remind him that fact that he's being punished for something. Right. Yeah.
That is intriguing. It's a very intriguing concept. And I like the idea for me that people, like, for example, old people who have dementia.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're like, oh, they're confused. They don't know what's like pity. They don't know what's going on. Well, what if actually they do? What if actually it is an apocalypse for them? And it is where you see what really is, as opposed to what we see before the veil is removed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Dementia, Alzheimer's, Because it's like, okay, you're stuck in memory, whatever.
well, what if you suddenly see what Einstein said all along, which is that time doesn't exactly really exist? Time and space are like the same thing.
Yeah, to move through one is to move through the other.
Right. Yeah. And also that the past is not necessarily gone. You know?
Oh, it's such a cool idea for a story.
Yeah.
Oh, nuts.
And I don't know who said this, but that time is circular. Who said that?
Oh, it's theorized by many.
It's like some what are those people called?
Scientists?
No, the physicists.
Physicists?
No, those one types. Quantum.
The
quantum physicists, yes. That it's like a loop. It's not, or whatever. And so it's like, well, maybe those people are actually finally seeing the truth, which is that the past and the present and the future are all the same.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I actually read something fascinating about the word quantum, and it means like root part, like smallest part. Oh. So you could say, like, let's say you have technically this would be true. Let's say you have some grapes on a vine,
right?
Yeah.
Vine, yeah.
You could say, I would like one quantum of grape, and that would be a singular grape from the vine.
It's like quantity.
Yeah, quantum.
Yeah, quantum.
Yeah, singular, smallest singular constituent component of something.
Yeah.
And up until we broke an atom, we thought atoms were quantum. The singular piece that made up something was an atom.
Smaller than that.
But it is in fact smaller than that. And so that's the root of the word quantum, which I think is fascinating.
That is.
Yeah, so quantum is thrown around in a lot of applications, but it's not necessarily always meaning the same thing.
Right.
It's just meaning the smallest constituent component.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Wow.
But that's an aside.
Okay.
I think this is wonderful.
Yeah.
This story, I think, is a great addition to what I am still assuming is a continuation of our story last time.
I'm just going to say it. I don't even care. It is.
It's beautifully written. This has to be difficult. I don't remember the last time I even attempted poetry, let alone narrative poetry.
Yeah, I love it. I love that because we don't know what's actually happening. This could be exactly what's happening.
And what a great way to show us, the reader, what is happening without telling us what's happening.
Yeah. I really love just the artistic nature of this.
Yes.
It's very, what is the word I'm looking for?
It's beautiful.
It is.
Yeah. Thank you so much for bringing us our first narrative poem.
Woo woo.
And moving on, we have The Noise Storm
by Steve Living Room.
Steve. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Steve, I'd like to start out by saying this was to me the most riveting story of the week. I literally found myself at my desk, literally leaning forward in my chair and gesticulating to
wildly
myself. Yes, and I was just like, and then like moving my hands like, this was very, very riveting.
Yes. And I like that it's just this one scene of this titular noise storm.
Yes.
Like that is, and the way it's described and how it just constantly grows.
Yeah.
Grows.
Yes.
And it grows.
And I felt so sad for the puppy.
Yeah.
Tommy. But I loved the description of Jake protecting Tommy by putting his hand over his ears.
And then putting his own ear to his other
and
ear.
putting his own bicep to his ear. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was so beautiful. And that's absolutely what I would do for my animals.
And it gives us such a clear scene in our heads of them just hunkering over, just weathering whatever's
happening. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really want to know what this was as a noise storm.
It was very well written. And the fact that after it, he's like, wait a second, his house is gone. It's almost like that, whatever it was some type of like a wrinkle in time.
Yeah.
That like took him back to the past or to the future.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. The one thing I was curious about was let's say it is a wrinkle in time and it was sent him to the past. Mm-hmm. He was still able to recognize the tree in his own backyard. Mm-hmm. It's almost like it picked up and swept away all modernity from the world. It just picked up his house, his fence, his garage, everything is just gone and left only that which was natural to the world.
Right. Or that which was there at the time or is there at the time that he went to.
Right. The only reason I bring up the tree in his backyard is because if it was before his house was ever there and everything was still natural. Yeah. I guess it depends on, like, let's assume it's a really old house. Like the tree would be significantly smaller. You may not even recognize that it was the tree in your backyard. So
yeah, and that's true. Unless it's like some type of like very, very, very long living tree and it had reached maturity like long ago.
Yeah.
Or it's in the future and it was still at the same, like in the distant future, like time machine.
Yeah.
Where everything is like gone to hell in a handbasket.
But that would still imply that the house was bulldozed and left to nature to grow over, because otherwise it would be ruins of the house. Yeah.
In Time Machine. Yeah, it was like so intriguing. And also I had a moment of self-discovery whenever I realized that I don't really care about Jake. I just want Tommy to be okay.
I care about Jake. I want to know.
No, I care
Jake
about
is okay.
Jake. I do, but to me, reading about Tommy flinching at the noise and stuff just was very hard to read.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas Jake, as a fellow human, I'm just like, man, he'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got full agency over himself.
Right. But everything. Tommy, I was like, please let Tommy be okay.
I will say that it kind of gave me Talisman vibes. Peter Straub and Stephen King, one of his few co-authored works. And the kind of moving to, I thought we were going to like a literal other world, like we're going to another world, a parallel world or something like that. We could be. So, but as the storm was happening and as he was coming to realization of his surroundings, that was my immediately thought. I was like, oh, this is kind of like the Talisman. I'm just filled with curiosity after reading this. This is
me too.
Yeah,
I'm like, what is this? What's going on?
You ended the story with, "What the fuck is going on?" And I was like, "Indeed, what is going on?
Yeah.
Please tell me more."
Yeah,
and I thought it was an interesting choice that we chose the present tense for this story. It gives it this very, well, obviously present feel. Yeah, it puts you right in the middle of the scene at the moment that you're reading it. So yeah. Yeah, very where
it says there are trees, but they are spread out. Many large areas don't have any trees. That makes me feel like it's in the future, where places where buildings were or houses were have been like cleared. I don't know.
Or it could be the past and they haven't been seeded yet. Like the trees haven't had a chance to grow yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, thin forest. Yeah, interesting.
It is so interesting, and I literally found myself sitting on the edge of my chair, the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
Quite literally. And by quite, I mean very.
Not kind of.
Right.
Like Professor Larmer.
Right. I love you, Professor Larmer.
There's still hope yet.
There's still hope. I think. What if he's like one of our writers?
Oh, that would be amazing. That would be incredible.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
I love you, Larmy.
Yeah. I have no notes. I have one note. Steve. The part, "What are you doing, Dad?" in quotations.
Oh, yeah.
I think it should be italicized.
Oh, yeah. No, I thought...
Because Tommy didn't talk.
No,
or maybe he is a talking dog.
Maybe so. But whenever I first started reading it, I was like, okay, are we in like an alternate universe where animals can talk? And what I thought was, I didn't think italics. I thought to say, Tommy walks over, sits down next to him, and looks up at Jake questioningly, seeming to ask, "What are you doing, Dad?"
Unless this is literally setting up.
Unless
Tommy can talk.
Yeah, in which case we're maybe not on Earth in the beginning.
Maybe not.
Or we're on Earth
Prime, where the puppies speak.
During the Chronicles of Narnia time where the animals talk.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what had happened back then.
Fascinating. Yeah, whether Tommy actually was supposed to talk or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he says, I don't know, buddy. Just trying to figure out this sound.
Mm-hmm. Like very normal.
Like he actually did ask him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Take that information how you will, Steve. But that was my one note.
Yeah, it was, and I was really surprised when he said he didn't edit at all. I was like, what? Because
it's polished.
It seems pretty polished, and
or at least clean around the edges.
Yeah.
There are a few things that could stand for a little scrutiny, but overall, this is cash money.
Right. That's some cash.
I don't remember
money.
The last time I said
cash
that.
money.
All right. Hey, thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Yes.
That was lovely.
And our last story for this week is The Dance by Walker by Faith.
That's right.
Right at the wire.
Yeah.
Actually, a little past the wire, but we're good.
Way past the wire.
We got you.
Yeah.
So this, I don't think, is any sort of continuation of the Ray saga.
No, I don't think so.
So this is just kind of a one-off story from Walker by Faith.
And, unless this is somehow a reference to the person whose jacket Sam found.
And
Sam found. Yeah. I don't know.
Could be. But it's just rife with contronyms.
It is.
Yeah.
It's rife.
Yeah. The only one I think, the only submission that I think used more than one contronym.
Mm-hmm. Well, who knows?
Yeah.
We don't know. we have no idea.
Turns out contronyms are really hard to spot in the wild.
Yeah, exactly. They are.
They have great camouflage.
They are very hard to spot in the wild. So in this story, it seems that the story is actually centered around contronyms.
Yeah.
That's like the theme of the story.
Yeah. And I like that they're basically called out to us as they happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, in parentheticals. You get fuck, she said simply, in exasperation, not invitation. So, yeah, cluing us into the context of its use.
Right.
Yeah. But just generally, this, it's just a kind of playful conversation between what man and woman, or not man and woman, husband and wife, you think?
I don't know. Male and female?
Yeah.
Are they married? We don't know, do we?
I don't know. They just seem very comfortable with each other and seem to be very familiar with one another.
Whenever she's like, really, dude? How many wives call their husband dude?
I can think of one.
Oh. Is it yours?
No.
Okay.
Has she called me dude?
I don't think so.
No.
Really,
no, she
dude?
Wouldn't.
Really, bro?
Yeah.
It's like...
Oh, yeah, I can certainly think of one right now.
Okay, but would that wife call her husband that if you or if somebody else wasn't around?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I can't speak to them, but yeah, I think she would.
Okay. Oh, but then he says, "Oh wow," I teased. Here we were hitting it off so well. So I feel like they're on a date.
Yeah, it could be a date. I could equally say that this is just the kind of rapport that they have with one another. Like it strikes me, the whole conversation strikes me as very playful. So I could read that as like a husband being coy and be like, "Oh, I thought we were hitting it off so well," and she just like gives him the side eye, like, "Really? Yeah, yeah." I don't know.
Could be. I read it more of like a newer relationship.
It equally could go that way.
Yeah.
There's not much context. It's mostly just what they're saying.
Right.
And with a little bit of our point of views, thoughts interjected every once in a while. So, but yeah, it's mostly just this conversation of them contemplating what to do. And I think it's a fun exploration, and
Yeah, I like the chicken part. I know it's very cheesy, but it reminds me of something that I might say just to be absurd.
Yes, yeah, that kind of
like
absurdist
chickens.
humor. Yeah.
Wait, that's creepy.
That's gross, dude.
That's ew. Like, what's wrong with you? You know? And so I could kind of like relate to that. And it was just like double entendre after double entendre.
Yes. Yeah. And we had discussed this shortly before recording, but could a contronym apply to an expression or a phrase?
Yeah, and I don't know.
Yeah, because give it up was one of the uses of contronym, or the implication, heavy air quotes, of contronym.
Yeah. I don't know, and I don't know if you can actually use the word contronym or if it would be like a synonymous phrase. I don't know.
I don't either. And I'm inclined to just say like, oh yeah, it's just, it has an opposite meaning. Yeah.
Contronyms expression.
Yeah. Contronyms.
Yeah.
Contronyms.
Because if synonymous and antonymous are words, then contronymus has to be a word as well.
Oh my God, you're right. It has to be. Yeah, so a contronymous phrase.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether or not anyone has ever used it, and somebody probably has at some point.
We have right now.
Right now. You know what? We're making history right now. It's a contronymous expression.
Right on. That's dope. That's so cool.
So dope. That's cool.
That's the bleeding edge of language.
Yes. Yes.
Watch it be like an ancient word.
No way. That'd be amazing. Okay, so here's something. I thought of a contronym.
I thought you were going to hand me something.
No.
Okay.
I thought of a contronym. Bad.
Wait, what?
Bad.
Bad. Yes, bad.
It's like an 80s contronym.
Yeah.
What about a early aughts contronym? No, 90s contronym. Sick.
Sick. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay. Because I was sitting there, I was literally racking my brain trying to come up with some, and the other morning they just like kept coming to me. They kept coming to me.
Yeah.
And then it's like lunchtime rolled around, I ate, and I started thinking, I was like, I can't think of a single contronym. It's like my brain has to be in this very specific place to even begin to think of contronyms.
But you know what? If I'm actually sitting here trying to think of contronyms, I can't. I can only realize them in context while I'm talking about them.
It's like, this is a weird comparison. If you're looking at the night sky, looking for a very particularly dim constellation, planet, something, if you look directly at it, you won't see it. But if you look slightly away from it,
right,
you'll see it in your periphery.
Right.
I just think that's fascinating, that looking at something directly on, it's harder to see than to look slightly away from it.
Oh, no, totally.
Like the constellation Pleiades is so faint and small and close that you can't make up the individual stars that make it up. But as soon as you look just slightly away, there they all are.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Oh, I've been using that as a metaphor for years.
I didn't even know that was a thing until I started like stargazing.
I've been using it as a metaphor for at least 20 years.
At least 84 years.
At least. But you know what, though? To me, that is like a parable. If you directly consider the lesson, you can't really see it. It doesn't really make sense. You're just like, hey, what? But if you hear a story and indirectly glean the lesson, yes, from your peripheral, then it makes sense.
That's a great way to explain how a parable works for people.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, what else you got for Walker?
That's all I got. I mean, it was an excellent usage of contronyms phrases.
Yes. And I think just a very realistic dialogue between two people. Realistic conversation.
Yeah, totally.
All right. That is all of our stories for this week.
That's all we got.
So shout out to AceOfSword for being selected here today. And welcome back. It's been a while. And next we have Richie Posier Nick you, myself, the Prismatics 19, and Steve Living Room, and Walker by Faith. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that moves us into episode 19.
OMG.
And our prompt for episode 19 is an intro line. And said intro line is: they hadn't seen the old house in over 20 years, but it looked exactly the same. That is your intro line.
So good.
So do what you will with that.
Written by our very own in-house mage.
Yes. That's me.
That's Matt.
Yeah. So, yeah, they hadn't seen the old house in over 20 years, but it looked exactly the same. So, yeah, do with that what you will.
Yes.
And the words to accompany this prompt are retailer, priority, harvest, murder, elephant.
Murder.
So you got us a definition for retailer?
Yes, a retailer, well, first of all, the ER/OR ending means one who does something. So a retailer is one who does retail. So a retailer is a store, generally.
Yeah.
Such as Macy's.
What's the difference between a retailer and a reseller?
A retailer buys products directly from manufacturers or distributors and sells them to consumers through a physical store. However, a reseller purchases products from other retailers or wholesalers. Okay, so a retailer gets things from the direct source, whereas a reseller gets things from retailers.
See, I feel like that distinction, especially in modern society, is hard to distinguish.
It is.
Because of how many entities are involved in getting the final product to the consumer.
That's true.
Yeah.
But for example, a retailer would be somebody like Best Buy, who purchases TVs from LG and sells them to customers. A reseller is someone who buys things from Best Buy and then sells them to customers.
Gotcha,
yes.
gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. And next, priority.
Priority. This is a noun.
It's one of my favorite words.
Really?
I love the idea of priority, prioritization.
Okay, yeah.
Like there's so much implied with priority.
There is.
Yeah.
I feel like priority has been yelled at me a lot in my life. Priorities. You got your priorities wrong. Get your priorities straight.
Priority.
I just hear like a yelling voice whenever I see that word. This is the thing that's important to you. No, it's just like the ranking of things in your importance. Ranking of importance.
Yes.
Where is it on your priority list?
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be the end of your priority list, which means it's not important to you. Could be top of your priority list, which means it's very important to you.
Yeah. Can it mean anything else?
Priority.
Priority. It can mean priority.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's basically it. A thing that is regarded as more important than another, the right to take precedence or to proceed before others. So
right.
Take priority. So yeah, nailed it. All right. How about harvest?
I love this word.
It's a good one.
Oh yeah. I use this word a lot with my students because I want them to understand what a harvest is.
Okay. That's a valid reason.
I guess I use it a lot in telling the story of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I'm like, the first harvest. Who knows what a harvest is? All right, it's a crop.
Yeah.
It's a completed crop.
Yeah, it's a gathered crop. Yeah,
well,
a collected crop.
The harvest. I feel like it's the thing that grows out of the ground.
I feel like it's the act of collecting the crop.
As a verb, yes.
Yeah.
Harvesting is collecting the crop. I consider the noun harvest to be like, maybe you're right, but I've always thought of it as the thing that has grown and the thing that you have collected.
Yeah. Like to collect what has grown.
is harvest.
And what you have collected from what you grew is the harvest.
Yeah, but can you say we have a harvest of corn in the fields that needs to be harvested?
I would say we have... Oh, God. I was immediately confused.
A cornucopia.
A cornucopia. But yeah, harvest.
Yeah, it could be a noun or a verb. Oh, well, it can also be an adjective. It can be like the harvest festival.
Ah, yeah. Yep. Which is all revolving around like the agricultural harvest.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what? I hate to say things that I'm not sure about. That's not true. I do it all the time.
Yeah, that's good. Do you really?
No. But I feel that harvest may be of Germanic origin. I could be so wrong about that. And if so, I apologize deeply. Did you find
Old
the answer?
English.
Fuck yeah, I was right. Fuck yeah, I was right.
Of Germanic
origin. Guess what, everybody? I'm a fucking genius. Did you hear that? I never even Googled that shit. It is Germanic as shit.
All right. Now I'm regretting looking it up.
I feel so amazing right now. Okay.
Okay. Next, we have murder.
Murder.
Can I offer one definition?
Please.
It is a collection of crows.
Okay. Yes. Yes, it is.
A murder of crows.
That is so true. It can be a verb or a noun. Or, of course, an adjective, murder mysteries or whatever. But to murder, I feel like it's like to intentionally kill somebody.
Yes. Yeah.
Or something.
Is intention implied in murder? Is accidental murder? Is that such a thing?
Murder. Well, I guess.
I feel like the context, you never really see it that way.
I don't think so, because I think that accidental will be like manslaughter or...
I can imagine a situation where somebody who did accidentally kill somebody would say, "Oh my God, I murdered somebody." They could say it. You could say it that way, but I imagine it would actually be like someone killed somebody, as opposed to using the word murder. I don't know. I'm curious.
As a verb, I just Googled it, and it says kill someone unlawfully and with premeditation.
So yeah, the intent is implied.
I feel like the intent is implied.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like homicide is killing somebody. It could be murder or not. But murder is intentional.
Yeah. And lastly, elephant. I don't think there's anything beyond
elephant.
Our fantastically trunked fellow friends.
Yes, which is amazing.
Yes.
Elephants are like equal to humans.
I love elephants.
They're better than humans.
They're so rad.
For sure.
Have you seen baby elephants that don't have control over their trunk? They're just whipping it around.
Cute. Yes. It's like baby cats that don't have control over their tails.
Yeah. Exactly.
Elephants are an amazing animal.
You could use it as an adjective, elephantine.
True.
As
meaning huge.
Huge, yeah.
Right. Or you could say the elephant in the room. It's like the thing that nobody wants to talk about, but is very obvious.
Yeah, and that's more of an idiom.
It is, but it's the word elephant.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fantastic, wonderful creature who hails from Africa and Asia.
Yes, Africa and Asia.
Yeah.
And of course, it can be an adjective. It can be a noun or an adjective.
Elephant.
It cannot be a verb.
Yeah,
It cannot.
You can't.
No, but as an adjective, like elephant man,
Yeah.
Like he had an elephant paw.
Elephant ears.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But can you imagine an elephant paw?
Is that a paw? It's like a...
Oh. I feel like snow leopards have elephant paws.
What?
Well, they have really big paws.
They do have big paws. So
I would call it
elephantine paws.
Yes.
It's cute.
So cute.
Well, our words again: retailer, priority, harvest, murder, and elephant. And if you want to be like these wonderful writers and submit your story to You Write, head on over to our subreddit at reddit.com/r/youwritepod.
If you're unable to submit a story this week, that is just fine. You can help out by reading and commenting on other people's stories.
Each time you post a story or leave a comment on someone else's submission, you increase your chances of having your story read on the podcast.
You can also reach us at youwritepod@gmail.com.
Also known as youwritepod@gmail.com. If you like our show and want to help support us, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/youwrite. You know what? Someday somebody's going to go to patronus.com.
That'd be wonderful.
I don't even know what's over there. Where are we sending them?
I don't know. I've never been there.
Patronus.
If you are unable to donate, that's fine. You can help. Wait, did I already do that? No. You can help us by sharing the podcast with other writers and non-writers alike.
I was researching patronus.com. It's very benign.
Is it owned by John Oliver?
The domain is available for sale.
I bet you that John Oliver is going to buy it.
Okay.
I'm going to write in.
Okay. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast. Yeah. That way, just as
Have they
soon.
Subscribed?
Who, John Oliver?
No. These writers.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't even know?
No, we get that, like I show it's being downloaded, but I don't know if they're subscribed. That's up to them.
Oh, well, of course.
That's private.
Oh, it's private?
That's privileged information.
Oh,
I don't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no way to know if you've subscribed. So, subscribe. Just so you know, like the episode, as soon as it's available, it's like right there. You can just go play it.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, be sure to leave us a rating and review in your podcatcher of choice.
We will be reading reviews on this show one day. I'm sure of it. I'm sure we will.
We shall.
It's not today.
No.
So if you feel like leaving us a review, just, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. Although I think Spotify calls it comments now or something like that. So leave us a comment on Spotify.
Just say, you know what, Satan? Today is the day. Today's the day.
Satan?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Not today, Satan.
Yes. Yeah. You know what, Satan?
Today's the day.
Today's the day. Today's the day.
And remember, join us next week on You Write,
a podcast where you write. There he goes, my baby, making eggplant parmesan. When he's with his other baby, he's a vegetarian.
See y'all next week.
Like, hello, 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 there's my little baby in the New York snow. Din, di, 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 di.